Hello everyone, welcome to the 4th episode of PROPAINTNITY with me, Akin. Before I start, I want to say sorry this one took a while because, I don't know, when I was doing this one, most of the time, I wasn't in the zone and also my cat died. So yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, back to the actual thing. In this video, I'm gonna show you guys how I make Kratos. No, I'm not a gamer, I don't play video games. The last console I had was PS2 and the last God of War game I played was God of War 2, so that was years ago. So why did I decide to make him? It's because he's cool and I want to pander. I want the fuse. Give me them fuse! So without further ado, let's get started. For this project, I used the new type of body I bought. I made a review about it and the bald head. First thing I did was sanding the body with a sanding sponge to get rid of the coating. Then give it a wipe of nail polish soaked tissues. Next, I erase the factory paint of the head using pure acetone. I despise how detailed the face sculpt is. I started changing the color of the body by painting it. Now whatever method you do for this, whether dusting pastel, or painting it, or airbrushing it, joints will always be your number one enemy, so just don't mind it. I think I'm going to invest in an airbrush soon. I just realized I can leave it brush stroke forever. Once the body is in one solid color, I shaded it with soft pastel to give it more dimension or whatever. I did the same thing to the head after giving it 3 layers of Mr. Super Clear as a base. Before I did anything further to the face, I decided to make the tattoo first. I made an outline using watercolor pencil and filled it with watered down acrylic paint. I gave him nipples and chest hair, kinda fucking gay, but you know what? Why not? Since the paint was already chipping off, I gave the body 2 coats of MSC and 2 coats of watered down matte varnish for protection, and the body is pretty much finished. I finished off the rest of the face with watercolor pencils and acrylic paint, spraying it with MSC every time I wanted to save the progress. Let's move on to the beard. I just glued wefts directly to the face. Once the glue dried, I trimmed the beard and styled it using a wet toothbrush. I actually finished the head and the body in like 4 days. What made this project take so long to finish was his costume. I was kinda intimidated. I mean, he has so many things on and he doesn't even have a shirt on. What the fuck? Anyway, as you can see, I made strips out of synthetic leather material. The width was half a centimeter. These were for the pauldron. Then I'll weave those strips. Once the weave is enough to make the pauldron, I double layered it. By double layer, it means I stick 2 pieces of material, wrong side together, so you get both sides right. That makes sense, right? I mean, you can see it in the video. Cut 3 rectangles out of it. Mine was 2 by 3 centimeters. Next, using the same material, I made trimmings for all the sides. Next thing is the chest and back piece. It's actually one piece. I used the cling wrap and masking tape method to make the pattern. Here's what a piece looks like. I sandwiched a piece of muslin as I double layered it. I glued the fur to the piece. The reason why I used this color is that I didn't want it to be the same color as the beard, but I didn't have any darker yarn, so yeah, I made it work. For the back part, you'd want the fur to go downward, but for the front side, you'd want the fur to go sideways. I made a double layered strip and I glued on where the shoulder would be and installed a buckle on it. I made two other pieces. I don't know what those shapes called, so just watch it, alright? Also another double layered strip. On this piece, I made a slit for the strip to go. I glued the strip in place. Then I glued this piece to the main piece. I also added a small loop on the back. It's for the X holder. Now, I glued the piece with the strip to the main piece. As you can see, I punched some holes to the front strip. Not the strip with the buckle, the front strip. It's for the belt so it can actually be worn by the doll. Sorry, I'm an action figure. What the fuck should I call it? 1/6 human replica? But Kratos is half god. After that, I trimmed the fur. Now let's glue the pauldron to the main piece. The pauldron is divided into three, the top, the middle, and the bottom. You're gonna want to glue the middle first, then the top. I added 3 cross stitches on the front and 2 on the back for reinforcement, also for details. Then I glue the bottom part. Instead of gluing it to the main piece, you'd want to glue it to the middle part of the pauldron. I glued an elastic loop to the bottom part of the pauldron for the arm to slide into so it would stay in place. Next, I made his cummerbund. It's that thing that's wrapped around the waist and mine shapes like a menstrual pad. Here I'm zigzag stitching it by hand. I could have used a sewing machine, but I like making things harder for myself and become depressed because of it. Then I double layered it. Be careful not to accidentally cut the stitches. I punched 3 holes on both ends so it can be put on with a cord. Next up is the terges. I cut strips out of red vinyl material. The width was 1 cm and since the waist is around 12 cm, there were 12 of them. Here I'm sewing a bead on the tip of the strip. I did this to every strip for details. Double layer the strips. Not only this made them look nicer, it also made the stitches stronger, so win all over. Glue the strips to the waistband. I used 2 buttons for the closure before closing the waistband up. Let's move on to the shoes. I made the shoes myself because the body doesn't fit Ken doll shoes, which is fucked up because I bought so many pairs of them. First, I traced the foot on a piece of craft foam to make the soles, then cut them out. You're actually gonna need 4 of them, 2 for each side. Here I'm temporarily sticking the sole to the foot with masking tape before making the pattern for the shoe. Here's what the pattern looks like. I cut it out of black vinyl, adding seam allowance on the bottom so it can be glued to the sole. I glued the piece to the sole according to the seam allowance line. I cut zigzags on the seam allowance, fold it over, and glue it in place. I closed up the slit with a small strip. I glued on another sole to hide the mess. I added tubes to the shoes because I was going for the boots look, and the shoes were finished. Now the leg warmers and the knee pads. You're gonna need 4 pieces of this, 2 for each side. Glue elastic loops to the 2 of them. And glue rectangular muslin to the other 2. Here I'm double layering the one with the elastic and the one with muslin. I just now realized that the leg warmers are dark colored, so with water down acrylic paint, I tried to change the color. Here I'm making the left armband where his collapsible shield comes from. I didn't show you how I made the right armband because it was just a piece of muslin that's wrapped with a cord. Anyway, I made 6 rectangles and an oval out of craft foam. I painted them all silver. Using a paper clip, I made the details on them. I glued the cord to the muslin and the rest of it like this. Now let's move on to that layer. I don't even know what that is, but anyway, cut a random shaped piece that's long enough to wrap the waist. I cut it into pieces. Just to stitch them back together. Kinda idiotic, but well. Then I double layered it. Next I made the fanny pack, the bag. I cut 2 shaped like this, but one with a flap. I sewed a strip between them for the room of the bag. I added a button for closure. I glued some beads to cover the stitches. I completely overestimated myself, thinking I'm gonna sculpt these 3 things. I failed miserably, so I didn't do that. For the belt ring, I ended up using a large jump ring, attaching it to a double layered strip. For the axe holder, I made it out of a large paper clip, shaping it into an omega. Now, for the most frustrating shit of all, the Leviathan axe. What the fuck happened to the Blades of Chaos anyway? Anyway, I wanna show you guys why my epoxy sculpt is fucked up. I actually got 2 pairs of them, the black and the white one. The white one hardens so fast, like to the point it's barely malleable. And the black one has this gravel-like somethings inside of it that can literally hurt my fingers. As you can see here, I made a very poorly made armature and tried to fill it with the epoxy sculpt, but to no avail. My second try, I made a cutout out of popsicle sticks, tried to fill it with the epoxy sculpt, but again, failed. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I gave up. I'm not gonna try again. So I went with my last resort, which was double layering the cutout, sanded it, painted it, done. It's fucking ugly, but at least I made it. Just like your parents think about you. Now that everything is done, time to assemble it. I legit spent 30 minutes to put everything on. I came across a few problems, like I had to tape the stitched up layer to the terrace because it won't lay down. Also, the buttons on the terrace decided not to work anymore, so I gave a single stitch to it. I glued the bag to the belt and it's finally done. I'm pretty much satisfied with the result. I mean, he looks solid, he looks cool, so yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to, and also I just realized it's Valentine's Day, so see you in the next video. Bye.